Okay.
This is Kevin Gumper, acting as the chairman of the Conservation Commission. This is the Conservation Commission of the town of Fairfield, the Inland Wetlands meeting of Wednesday, December 2. And present at the meeting are myself, Jen Hallhuth, Beth Jones, Felicia Watson, Charlie Rowan, Nelson North, Dabney Bowen, and Brian McCann. And we need 2 alternates, and those 2 alternates, at least to start, will be Dabney and Brian. Okay? Everyone understood?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from November 4, 2020. Does anybody have any comments or questions about the minutes?
Kevin, can you hear me? It's Felicia.
Yes.
Okay. I actually was in attendance at that meeting, but nobody could hear me. And then I couldn't hear anyone, and probably halfway through the meeting disconnected.
Okay.
I don't think that really matters, but just as an FYI.
Do you want me to change that to include
Why don't
you?
you change that so it would read the same way as it read for Kathy O'Donnell?
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or changes? Hearing none, I'm going to assume all in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then approval of the recording secretary's bill.
So
Unless someone
moved.
says no, I'm going to assume we're all in on that, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to
Correct.
mark that as approved. Then I'm going to turn the page here. And we have resignation letters from Kathy O'Donnell. She resigned as of the end of November, and Felicia is resigning as of the end of December. And my term has actually expired, and I'm not eligible to serve any further. But according to the town charter as interpreted by town attorney, I can stay on for up to 65 days until a replacement for me is found, and no replacement's been there yet. And we'll continue on then for Roman numeral 4, the show cause violation hearing, which was a cease, desist, and correct order with respect to the property owned by Abby M. Taylor at 1081 Reading Road. Is there any comment from staff on that status?
Yeah, this is basically going to be continued again. I've talked to John Fallon today. I should identify it's Annette Jacobson for the record.
Yes.
And we've met outside with Bill Kenny, their soil scientist and representative, and we have a good understanding of what the restoration plan will be. We just don't have the hard copy of the restoration plan. He's working on it. So I'm going to ask you to continue this item again. We'll be meeting very shortly on that. With,
right.
Staff and the applicant's representative.
Is everyone in favor of continuing this matter?
Yes.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
anyone opposed? Is anyone opposed to continuing this matter? Okay, we'll deem it continued to the next hearing as you suggested, Annette?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then Roman numeral 5 is Inland Wetland Deliberative Session. We have old business, which is IWPA 2020-21-05 Militia, 2780 Reading Road, Assessors Map 167, Parcel 15. It's to subdivide, a petition to subdivide to construct a new house and a pool within a regulated area. The last day for public hearing and decision is December 11, 2020, and the last regular meeting prior is December 2, 2020, which is today. Annette, is there anybody from the public or any representative from the applicant attending the meeting?
I believe there is. Wait a minute. No, that's on. He's on a different. I don't believe there's anyone attending. I think he's on the only person I think is on a different item. I think it's from land surveying is on the last item on the agenda. We have I've talked with the engineer. I've talked with the executrix of the estate. We have their written consent form that says they agree with all the staff conditions. It's not a public hearing, and staff is recommending approval with fairly standard conditions.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can go into more detail about the two-lot subdivision if you'd like. All the plans were online, and you got them in your packets. Very level property. There's a wooded swamp in the back part of the wooded swamp is mowed. We're asking them to stop mowing the wooded swamp where it's mowed, and they've provided detention and a lot of infiltrators towards the front of the lot, and we would recommend approval with the pretty much standard conditions.
All right. I'll ask the commissioners. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Annette on this matter?
Yes, this is Jen Hahus.
Yep.
The specific conditions number 2, the cessation of mowing, how are we going to enforce that, if at all?
Okay.
I had the same question, and then I looked at the map, saw that basically there's already a stone wall that kind of separates it, but
right.
I'm concerned we'll have somebody on his mower, and he's not wearing a mask, and no one's telling him he can't mow his property. What are we going to do?
Well, there's a hedgerow right at that stone wall, and it probably wouldn't be the owners of this property that would be mowing it. If it's mowed, it might be the neighbors mowing it. So that's the first thing I thought of. It wouldn't be the owners of this property. I talked with the executrix who grew up there, and she couldn't ever really remember going on this portion of the property that's mowed. And she said it always was so wet back there, she could just see that it was wet. That's why I kind of was surprised that it was mowed or tried to be mowed. In certain times of the year, I don't think you can mow it. So she had no problem not mowing it. And I also put in, normally I would recommend a conservation easement, but their disturbance wasn't super close there. But I said if it's sold, if a new buyer buys it and wants disturbance closer, we would recommend a conservation easement. So in the future, any buyer is put on notice if they propose other things, that when they come back, I will recommend a conservation easement.
Okay. This is one of the few times when I don't think you're being tough enough.
Well, I know.
That's a surprise.
Well, it'll, sooner or later somebody will mow it, and then we're going to hear about it.
Right. I thought we should have one of those conservation easements, like where it just says strictly that there's no mowing, and they can trim when the trees get to a certain height, they can pick up the dead branches and things like that. But I had exactly the same concern that Jen did, is how we're going to enforce this.
I wrote the same thing.
Charlie, you said the same thing?
Yeah.
Well,
without question.
what we can do is not decide on it tonight, because they didn't offer a conservation easement, but they also didn't come in for any kind of preliminary review by staff, so that we could have suggested a conservation easement or something. And I thought the commission didn't like staff requiring an easement, that it should be offered. So we could ask them to give us a time extension and see if we can get an offer of an easement. But if not, we might have to bring this back. They can give us a little extension and bring it back possibly at your next meeting or at a conservation night for a decision.
Well, that makes sense to me. Does that make sense to the other commissioners?
It does.
And Jen?
It does.
Is there anybody on the line that you think, Sarah?
hang on, I'm gonna.
I think it's only might be Jimmy on the other item.
I just unmuted the other person so you can ask the person.
Is any member of the public on the line for this item on 2780 Reading Road? Okay. I don't think any member of the public is on this item. Sorry, I just thought I would check it.
Right. I wanted to check that. And what do the commissioners think? Has everyone heard the discussion? I can't tell by looking at my telephone. Beth, you think that's a good idea to hold it off? Is that what you were saying for a month or so? As much as a month if necessary. And
I think
Jen,
so.
are you on board as well?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how amenable do we think that the landowners would be to a conservation easement?
Yeah.
Who said, just for the record, who said that?
That's Dabney.
Oh, Dabney, okay.
Okay, is this directed to me, Annette?
Yeah.
I think it's directed
Okay.
just generally, right? Okay.
I spoke with the executrix. They don't plan to develop the property at all. They're going to sell it or put it up on the market. And so when I talked, and it's behind the stone wall, it really doesn't affect the development of the lot at all. So they had no problem with no mowing. And since they don't intend to actually file the easement, if there was an easement, or do any of the non-mowing, in a sense, they were like, okay, it doesn't affect them at all. So in my discussions, I don't think they would have a problem with it. But, it didn't, at the time we were talking about it, I wasn't recommending it, didn't seem necessary at that juncture. But because they're not going to be living there or dealing with the new development, I didn't see it as a problem. We did talk about the future if a developer wanted to get closer to the wetland, they would have to come back, and the possibility of a conservation easement, and that was, I said, on them. But right now, development is kind of hot. Everybody's building everything, and people don't even care if there's a violation on a property. They're still interested in the properties. So it didn't seem to faze her about the saleability of the property.
Right. So that's sort of why I was asking. This is Dabney again, because a conservation easement would be great to be able to put it in place now when demand is so hot, because typically buyers shy away from properties that have conservation easements, and sellers think that it devalues their property. But because the market's so hot and people don't care right now, it would be a very opportune time to have the current landowners agree to that conservation easement, don't you think?
Absolutely. I normally recommend conservation easements. That's usually what I do.
Yep.
Well, but why don't we consider waiting for the property to be sold and let the developer come in and address that issue when that situation
I guess
arises?
it's Dabney again. I mean, I guess my point is that if you wait, then a developer, I mean, I used to be a real estate developer. They don't want conservation easements. They don't want to be restricted. We all know that. So now would be a more opportune time when the current landowners don't really care. The future landowners may care. Developers certainly going to care at least a little bit. So.
Yeah, they may, it may actually be able to enhance it, so they can say, oh, it's all this area behind you is never going to be developed. That's always that is also a sales point. I would be in favor. I myself am in favor of continuing this to give the staff a chance to discuss with the owner or the applicant. And I'm thinking that I heard Beth say she's in favor of the same thing. Don't let me put words in your mouth, Beth, but I think you're in favor of it, and Jen's in favor
I'm
of
totally
it.
on board, Kevin.
Okay. And Charlie, what about you?
Yep, definitely.
And Brian?
Does in favor of it mean requiring a conservation easement, or does in favor of it mean
in favor of
putting this off until we find out?
Of finding out and exploring it?
Then yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Dabney, I think you're in favor of it from the tenor of your remarks. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And did I miss anybody?
Felicia.
Nelson?
What about
Oh,
Nelson?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
And
Felicia, you since
yeah, I'm
it's
in favor with it.
Felicia, you should have been the first person to talk.
You forgot me, Kevin. That's okay.
We've already done
Yeah,
that.
I'm in favor with continuing it.
Okay. So we will continue it then.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Sarah, can you understand the motion? Do you need a motion, or you think you understand what we agreed to?
It's the sense of the body. We have to get an extension from them to continue it, but the general gist of investigate the if we can get an offer of a conservation easement. But yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty. So that takes care of then Roman numeral 5A, and then we're to Roman numeral 5B, which is basically all Conservation Commission stuff. We have the draft of the meeting schedule for 2021. Did everybody get a chance to look at it? I think we discussed it at our last meeting. Is there any issues or problems with that?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Is everybody in favor of the proposed meeting schedule?
Yeah.
Looks good to me. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that's approved. And then we have the election of the officers for 2021. We're going to need a chairman, we're going to need a vice chairman, and we're going to need a secretary.
Well, this is Beth. I have a question. So we have 3 seats that are empty, technically. And do we want to wait? Is there a way we could wait until those seats are filled, or are we going to go forward?
I think that maybe why don't we keep the same officers for now. We need a secretary if we can get one, and hold on, and then shortly within the next 2 months we'll have to have a new chair.
Yeah, that sounds perfect to me.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
Does anybody?
I nominate Charlie as secretary.
Charlie, would you like to be the secretary?
I don't even know what it entails, to be honest with you.
All right, then you're elected.
Exactly right.
Sarah does it. Sarah really does it.
Congratulations, Charlie.
Railroaded.
Awesome. I'm glad I showed up.
All right, so should I make a motion for that, Kevin? This is Beth. Make a motion for Charlie to be our new secretary?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, congratulations, Charlie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. Yay. And now we're on B3, which is we're back really to wetland stuff again. Request for release of performance bond. We have the emergency IWP 2020-21-02 by Pete Ambrose, ESQ, 180 Hillbrook Lane. Construct a driveway bridge crossing a water course within a regulated area, and a request to Pete Ambrose for final release of $5,500. Has that all been done, Annette? Is it okay to release it?
That's totally done. Can you release it all?
Okay.
All right, so I'll make the motion to release the bond, because I think everyone needs for Beth to release a bond today. What do you think?
Yes, I think that's an excellent idea, Beth. And
so I make that motion.
Right.
I second it.
Release it all.
Is everybody in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Or maybe it's better to say, is anyone opposed? All right, well, then that's the consensus. We will release that bond. And then the monthly wetland business update, that is just an FYI. Did anybody have any questions or comments about that? Okay. And then we get on to Roman numeral 6, which is our new applications. And Charlie, in your position as secretary, you can read number 1.
Hold on a second.
Just the first paragraph. You don't have to read the rest of the stuff. If it's not in front of you, Charlie, I'll read it. Doesn't matter.
No, it is. I just have to find it. Hold on.
It's on page 3.
Oh, it's number 1 on page 3?
It's at the bottom of page 3. I'll just go.
De Laurentiis Developments.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
All right, I'll just read it off then.
All right.
It's
Thank you.
IWPA 2020-2106, De Laurentiis Developments, 918 and 934 Mill Plain Road, Assessors Map 179, parcels 77 and 77A, demolish an existing house and barn and construct 2 new dwellings within a regulated area. And the staff thinks this is non-significant, and the staff recommends tabling pending legal notice and departmental review. Is everybody in favor of that?
Yes.
Yes, I move. Yep.
Yes.
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 Okay. All righty. And that, I think we are now down to other on the agenda. And I think does anybody have any other?
No.
Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season.
Yes. There you
That's
go.
another.
Yep. Let's hope that. Okay. And right now, just Annette, can you let everybody know who is presently the acting conservation director, or do we not have one?
No. Brian is still the director. He's on administrative leave.
Oh, okay. All righty.
Well, thanks for hanging around for a little while longer, Kevin.
Well, yeah. I feel like Michael Corleone, just when I thought I was...
So now you know what I mean about the Godfather-ish thing, right?
Exactly.
All right.
All righty. Okay.
Sounds great, people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
holiday,
you.
and we'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Be
Bye-bye.
well.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good job, Annette.
Thanks. Okay. I have to highlight exactly.
Okay. Did you formally close? Did we close it? We did adjourn the hearing, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to turn off the recording. I just have to find my little cheat sheet.
Oh, how to do it? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.